Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 12th episode of the Concord University Athletic Alumni at Work interview series. My name is Wes McKinney, and today we welcome our very first doctor to the interview series. Took us 12 episodes, but we finally arrived here. Please welcome soon-to-be Concord Hall of Fame member and former men's golf standout here at Concord from 2011 to 2014, Dr. Evan Muscari. How are you, Evan?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Obviously, a local guy from Wyoming County, not too far away from here, about an hour. And we're so glad you've joined us. You were a three-time Ping All-Region selection, 2012, 13, and 14. A three-time All-Conference selection, a member of two conference championship teams here at Concord. And you capped off your career by winning the Mountain East Conference Championship in 2014. Sharpened the classroom to go with that. You were two times selected to the COSIDA Academic All-District and Cleveland Golf Srixon All-American Scholar. So, man, quite a career here at Concord. But before we dig into it, just give us a life update if you could.
So nowadays I'm just working with my son's AAU basketball team. Getting him into some deer hunting, trying to keep the Southern West Virginia lifestyle alive there. He just killed his first buck on November 13th this Friday, so pretty proud dad moment there. Don't pick up the golf clubs much anymore, to be honest. If I play a couple times a year, it's usually 9 holes with him. He's gotten into it pretty big now. He's getting pretty good. Got married on May 15th. Trying to do this doctor thing during this COVID pandemic is pretty rough. I know you said it's only audio, and thank God, because the mask hair isn't working out too well. Pretty busy at life right now.
Yeah, so what's the sport of choice for your son? You mentioned basketball, which we'll jump into that because that's a huge thing down there in Wyoming County. Obviously, the shooting sports apparently is a big deal for him as well, killing that nice buck. And then you said he's gotten into golf. So kind of what's his forte here?
His forte is pretty much whatever's in season. I try to keep him into all kinds of different things. I was always told don't specialize growing up, and I think that's important. He plays baseball, he plays basketball, he plays golf. Anything that's that's what he likes to do at that time.
Well, good deal, man. Yeah, we're going to talk about your family here coming up in a little bit, but you're living in Mullins, West Virginia, which is not too far outside of Beckley, about 20-25 minutes there. But you grew up in Salisville, West Virginia, which is in the general area of Pineville, West Virginia, which is near Twin Falls State Park, about an hour here from campus at Concord. And coming out of high school, you would think that you came right to Concord, got your golf career underway, and took off from there. But no, you took a non-traditional route to Concord out of high school. And Wyoming East High School, to mention Wyoming East there, kind of take us through the end of your high school career, and then you get to Furman in South Carolina, and then you end up back here in Southern West Virginia.
So the end of my high school career, I was able to win the state championship my senior year, which was kind of a goal of mine. Obviously, I finished 4th as a freshman, so it kind of put me on a jump start to thinking that I could actually compete at that level. Didn't have a great sophomore year, finished 2nd as a junior, and then 1 as a senior, and kind of proved to myself that I could compete at that level. Got an offer from Furman University, which was a Division I school. Thought I had to at least go down and try it and see where it led me. Furman's a great place. Greenville, South Carolina was cool. It just wasn't for me. I mean, I'm a Southern West Virginia boy through and through, and I just nothing against that place, but me and there just did not jive. And so the person I actually contacted to try to get back to Concord from there during the first semester at Furman was Darcy Donaldson, and called him up on the phone, had his phone number from just West Virginia Golf Association events, and contacted Darcy and said, "Hey man, I'm looking to transfer. Is there any way that I'm coming back to Concord, whether there's a spot for me or not on the golf team? It's a bonus if there is, but if there's not, I understand. But I'll be in school there. I'll walk on. I'll do whatever I can do to prove myself." And luckily there was a spot. So just a blessing.
Let me backtrack here for just a minute. You said you finished a top 5 in the state three of your 4 years of high school, Evan. When and I guess how did you pick up the game of golf?
So my dad actually played golf at Concord. I think he graduated from Concord in '77, him and my mom both. I've been around the game of golf since an early age, but I really did not pick up clubs and start playing. I was more interested in driving the cart and looking at deer and running around the golf course. I really didn't pick up a golf club until going into my freshman year of high school. But when I picked the club up, I got pretty serious about it pretty quick. I was, walking 45 to 54 holes. This was, Twin Falls. You couldn't get a cart till you were 16. So my mom would take me up sometimes after school and get a cart for me when there wasn't enough time to walk, or she didn't have work going on. But during the summers and stuff, I basically got dropped off at daylight and picked up at dark, and told them not to come back until it was after dark because I wasn't leaving.
I wanted to touch on this. You grew up in Wyoming County, and that's just a crazed basketball area. Shout out for the Wyoming East-West Side basketball rivalry. It's a spectacle that I've been to once in my life, and it's really surreal to be at one of those games. But was there ever a time when you thought that, hey, I want to play basketball maybe at the next level and not do golf, or was it always golf? And when did you kind of come to that realization? I know you mentioned the fact that you thought about halfway through your high school career that you could play at the college level.
Yeah, there was thoughts of doing that. I don't know. I had a knee surgery my senior year. It wasn't a major thing. It was just a little meniscus tear. I played most of my senior year on a torn meniscus. I just kind of sat down and read articles and stuff about how, people later in life have all these joint problems and all these injuries from basketball and all these contact sports. And I was like, man, I can pick up a golf bag and go walk 18 holes and have fun doing that. Yeah, and not have to wake up and run. And I'm not saying you don't have to be in shape to play golf, but you definitely don't have to be in the full court press basketball mode shape. So some of that went into it, and just being able to be a college student as well. If I was going to play golf and basketball at Concord, there's no time for that college life, and I had a blast while I was at Concord, and if I could do it all over, I really don't know that I would do anything differently except come to Concord right off the bat.
We'll jump into some Concord stories and experiences here in just a couple of moments, Evan. But I did want to touch on your time at Furman, short-lived, but what was the differences that you saw in the college game at the Division I level compared to playing in high school in Southern West Virginia?
Well, Southern West Virginia is a pretty small sample size for anything, whether it's sports, golf, academics. It doesn't matter. It's just a small sample size. You get out there and start seeing that, I might be one of the top players in my area. Then you get out there and there's 5 million of you, if not, there's 5 million of you plus some that are better than you.
Mm-hmm.
It really puts things into perspective, and it really drove me to want to work harder. I'm a very competitive person. Thankfully, my son's got that gene. I think he hates to lose more than he likes to win, which is kind of the way I was. Winning was great, but it wasn't really the winning. It was just not losing for me. So that really drove me to get out there and see people that were like, golf's not like basketball. It's a sport that's nothing like anything else. Nobody can block your putt. Nobody can like they can block your shot in basketball. If I hit the putt and it's going in, nobody can do anything to stop it. So it's really you versus the course. But to see people playing better than me is really what drove me, because there was nothing that could stop me from doing it other than me.
I wanted to ask about the area or the campus of Furman. It's in Greenville, South Carolina, a nice area of the country. Was there something at Furman that kind of sticks out to you still to this day?
The campus at Furman was unbelievable. They had an 18-hole golf course on campus. We had our own locker room, dressing room. We had our own range. We hit Titleist golf balls off the range. I mean, it was pretty top of the line. We had all of our own practice equipment. We could regrip our own clubs. We had stuff to change our clubs with. We got nice club deals. If we wanted to buy clubs, we could get them for cheaper. I lived a lot of the time on the range and the golf course at Furman. Probably so much that it was to a fault, because I knew no one going into it, and I really didn't know anybody coming out of it, because it didn't get real cold, but once it got cold enough that I couldn't stand out on the range and the time changed enough, there was none of that college life for me. I was coming home on most weekends. It was a 4.5-hour drive one way, driving home after class on a Friday, driving back on a Sunday evening. It got to be really stressful, really hard, and great area, great school. Just like I said, life circumstances and personality wise, it just wasn't for me. It just one of those things that happens.
You talk about Coach Darcy Donaldson back here at Concord that you reached out to your freshman year, and obviously there was a lot that went into you getting back here, but you get to Concord's campus. It would have been 2011, and all sorts of personalities. You got Darcy, who's a personality in himself. You got guys from Canada, guys from Sweden, a lot of international flavor on the Concord men's golf team. What was it like for you to try to fit in with all of these guys on the team?
That was one of the big shockers for me, was coming from a Division I program to Southern West Virginia to Concord Division II program. And I went from, 8 or 10 guys that were all from the United States to coming back here, and we had guys from Canada, guys from France, guys from Sweden. It was kind of a culture shock. And then you throw this good old Southern West Virginia hillbilly in the mix with them, and kind of had the melting pot all together in Southern West Virginia at Concord. But I had a lot of fun, learned a lot from those guys, made a lot of lifelong friends that I haven't talked to in a while and love to get back together with. But it was pretty fun times.
All right, before we talk about the team success, and there's a lot of that whenever you hear it, Concord, golf's an individual sport. Obviously, there's team success involved, but how'd you guys mesh? You mentioned the melting pot. How did everyone's individual game mesh to make the team really have all the success that they did?
Well, I think early on, when I was a freshman, sophomore, that it was just, we had 5 guys that went out and played that we didn't really have a 1 seed or a 5 seed. I like to play fast, so I always went out the 5 seed because the 5s went off first. Darcy and Coach Johnson kind of let us run with wherever we wanted to play. I played a lot faster than most people, so that fit my game style better and probably made me shoot better scores. If I had to sit around and wait, it was going to frustrate me. So I played the 5, and sometimes my score was the one score, sometimes it was the five scores. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It didn't matter where we played. It's basically like we had 5 ones out there, and that was pretty special for our team to know that all 5 guys could go out and break par at any time. I don't think we ever did that at one time, but to know that your 5C could go out and shoot 68, or your 1C could go out and shoot 65, or anywhere in between could shoot under par or at par or 75 or lower, was put a lot of pressure on a lot of teams.
What are practices like, Evan? I mean, in the stick and ball sports, you do certain drills in practice, you scrimmage each other, whatever it might be. But I mean, I know in golf you play and you play the course, but how do you work on different stuff while you're at practice?
That was one of the hardest things for me to ever figure out, and I don't know that I could truly tell you I figured it out to this day, but just working on being able to be repetitive. Every course is unique, so I don't know any other sport that home field advantage gives you more of an advantage than golf. If we had a tournament at Glade, I fully expected that our team was going to win no matter how well or poorly we played, because we knew you didn't have to pull your rangefinder out to see how far it was. You knew, on the 17th hole I'm hitting a 7-iron. Like, it doesn't matter. That's what I'm hitting. What's the wind doing? Okay, it might be a 6, it might be an 8, but everybody else is shooting it and hitting 5s and 4s and hitting it over the green or hitting it short into the bunker, and you're just kind of giggling and chuckling, saying, "Oh, I've hit this shot 5,000 times." There's not another sport that home field advantage is greater than golf, and being able to be consistent and have that consistency throughout, working on the range and kind of being able to focus in on the range. If there's one thing I ever learned from Tiger Woods, it's being able to focus in and not just, I smashed that drive 350 down the range, but it was, out of bounds. Being able to say, I hit it, 290 and it's in play all the time. Kind of taking those shots from the range to the course would probably be the biggest things, and living on the putting green, working on that short game. Guys at Concord used to get so mad playing with me. They'd say, "We never even saw you through the whole hole. I play with a lot of really good ball strikers, and that was probably the weakness of my game, was ball striking, but I probably had the best short game of anybody on the team." So they wouldn't see me through the whole hole. I'd punch it out, hit it up to a foot, and tap in for par, and they'd miss a 10-footer, 3-putt from 10 feet, and they'd be so mad. And that was the funny thing. They used to tell me I could get up and down out of a trash can.
That's great. That's great. I'm glad you mentioned Tiger Woods. Obviously, you came up through the game whenever Tiger was really popular there, mid-2000s. Was there someone, and I know that all high school and college athletes think they try to model their game, whether it be basketball or football or baseball or whatever, after a certain athlete. Was there someone that you modeled your game after?
I can't point to a certain someone. No, I can't say one person. I mean, everybody can say Tiger. Probably the greatest golfer ever. Everybody wants to say Jack Nicklaus, but no, I think Tiger is the greatest ever. I can't say one person. I mean, Tiger shaped the game more than anybody through the history of the game. Anybody who's winning a tournament nowadays can probably retire off one tournament win thanks to Tiger, because of the purses they're paying and the spectators he's brought to the sport. But no, I can't say one person. Probably growing up, Sergio was my favorite player. Just the charisma and the young age that he came out and was able to kind of have some of those battles. My brother used to make fun of me for being like, "Oh, how can you like Sergio?" But just him playing his game, his swing was kind of, not conventional. He did his own thing, and that's kind of how I like to do mine. Is like, you might not like it, you might not like how it looks, you might not like, but it gets the job done in the end, and that's all that really matters, are the results to me.
Concord men's golf, Evan, has had a lot of success over the last 15 years, and I'm sure that the Southern West Virginia culture being closer back to home was two of the big factors that led you into coming back here to Athens. But did you really consider how much success that Darcy had and Coach Johnson and Gene Davis and Kevin O'Sullivan before them, that those guys has had here at Concord?
I actually did not, and once I got back and actually started, being able to hang out with Darcy and Coach Johnson and some of the guys and seeing some of the trophies they had stacked up and starting to get access to some of the Concord, websites and stuff and reading on there. It wasn't until I got back that I actually learned, daggone, I came into a pretty good program here. So, and that was one of the things too, coming back into that and seeing that was like, it's not time to just relax. It's time to put the pedal to the metal and see how much more we can achieve here. So let's see if we can take this thing to another level.
Yeah, Concord wins a conference championship in 2010. They come up a little bit short in 2011. Your first year here at Concord, but going into 2012, pretty much the entire roster comes back. Coach Johnson adds a junior college transfer, Stephen, to the mix. He had also played at Mercer, and Evan, that leads me to, I know Mercer and Furman's in two different conferences. They're not even in the same state. But was there any prior knowledge you had of Stephen playing against him anywhere down the line?
No, I didn't even know him until he came to Concord, and as I mentioned earlier, talking about lifelong friends, Stefan, he came and stayed at my parents' house with me quite a bit. We hung out all the time. He's one of my dearest friends, and I haven't talked to him in a long time. He was in the States for a while. I think he played some pro golf. That's kind of when we went our separate ways. He kept doing the golf thing, and I kind of went to the books. The last time I heard from him, I think he was either in South Africa or England. And I wish I could find a way to talk to him. I don't have social media. I don't have Facebook, I think, which is what he does. Sometimes he talks to my mom still. But, yeah, what a great guy. Probably – I always tell people, if you could take his ball striking in my short game, we could have made it to the PGA Tour. If he could hit it from the tee to the green and I could putt it and chip it for him, there's no doubt in my mind we would have been playing in the Masters. But fortunately, they don't allow that, because I've never seen somebody be able to hit it to we were playing at Canaan one time, and every shot I saw him hit, I think I saw him on he was inside 10 feet on 12 holes in a row, and somehow I wound up beating him, and I was hitting it all over the place. And, that's just one of those things. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, but I've never seen somebody hit it on a rope more than he does.
I saw you get a grin on your face as I was talking about Stefan. Him being from South Africa and you taking him home to mom and dad there in Pineville. What was that culture shock like for him?
Oh, it's funny because we never really talked about the culture shock for him. He's just such a good, down-to-earth guy. Still, sometimes I make some of the recipes that he showed me, some of the little appetizers from South Africa and stuff, some little mushroom poppers and stuff that he made. I just really wish I could be back in touch with some of these guys, especially him, because, like I said, and back to Stefan, the first time in my home course, I took him to Twin Falls State Park, talking about a guy that ropes it all the time. I mean, he just stripes it, and I think he shot 64 or 63 or something, and missed my course record by one shot, and I've been playing this for my entire life, and he comes, and the very first time he steps on the tee there, he shoots one off the course record. He could play. He could hit it. If his flat stick could have ever got going for him at the right time, there's no doubt in my mind that he could have went places with it.
All right, so let's talk about you guys. Kind of a 1-2 punch there in the fall of 2012. You guys have a great regular season. Evan, was there ever a point in time there in that 2012 season where you guys realized you had a shot at winning a conference championship, which you ultimately did?
I don't want to sound cocky, but I think that it would have been a letdown had we not won a conference championship, to be honest with you. When you've got, like I said, even up through then, I'm pretty sure we had Stefan and me and Matt Morgan was still on the team. I'm pretty sure. I don't think he had left at that time. I can't believe I can't remember the other guys' names. I can picture that Sebastian.
Yeah, and I think the other one was Nathan Begley, I believe.
Nathaniel Bagley, yeah. So, Matt Morgan and I were good friends from grade school. He grew up here in Mullins. We played a lot of grade school basketball and stuff against each other. So that was kind of a connection I had coming in, was to him. Stefan was a really good buddy, so when he transferred back in, we kind of hit it right off the bat. Sebastian was a great guy from Sweden, very smart, very methodical about his game. And Nathaniel, another Southern West Virginia boy. That was one of those things too, again, that we had 1 through 5 that if we would all come in and shot 2 or 3 under, I don't think that would have shocked anybody. So I think it would have been more of a letdown had we not won the conference championship than if we had. To us on the team, at least. Other people probably believed in their programs and their players just as much as we did. But I think internally at Concord and through the golf team that it would have been probably a disappointment to us had we not won.
Yeah, Concord begins a three-peat there, 2012, 13, and 14 of men's golf championships. Just kind of keeps carrying on that legacy that was set in the years prior. And Evan, I want to ask this question kind of just for my curiosity. Between the end of the spring season, when it's over there, late April, early May, and the start of the fall season, which for golf is usually like Labor Day weekend, how many rounds do you estimate that you play for those, I guess it'd be like 4 months?
Oh, to be honest with you, I kind of progressed in, growing up playing at Twin Falls. They don't really have a range, so to speak, so I didn't get a lot of practice time on the range. I kind of used the course as the range time. They have a decent, chipping and putting area. So I played more growing up, more rounds of golf, more holes of golf, as you would say, when I first started. After I got better, probably to a downfall, I spent more time on the range when I got to be a member at Glade and get the amenities that come with Glade. Great range, great practice area. Like I said, kind of to a downfall because I spent so much time on the range that I felt like I hit the ball better but didn't score as well, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Some people out there will understand that when you just go out and just play and you just keep playing and playing and playing and playing and you're playing 40, 50 plus holes a day, something just happens in your mind. You just learn how to get the ball in the hole. And that's kind of how I grew up playing. Was, like I said, you could never see me on a hole. I could hook it into the woods and all of a sudden you see a ball pop out in front of the green and I chip it up and either chip it in or chip it on and I've made birdie or par and you've never even seen me. And that's just coming from playing. You just figure out how to manage it around even when you're not hitting it good. So that's one thing, if I look back on, I wish I probably would have done different is what you said, play more golf in those times. But, you get this competitive drive for perfection, which is never going to happen in golf. And the competitiveness was almost to a fault for me, was that I stood on the range and wanted to hit it so far, so straight that I did it all day long and probably didn't play enough. And now when I'm saying not play enough, it's different for people what playing enough is. I grew up, like I said, playing 40 plus holes a day for 3-4 months out of the year, as just playing from daylight to dark as hard as I could go. Then I got to where I felt like the range was helping me more because I was hitting it better, but I wasn't scoring as well. So in hindsight, I probably should have left the range and left that drive for perfection and the perfect swing and analyzing every swing after on the range, and just went and played. Because looking back on it, I'm a field player. Like, I tried to look at the mechanics too much, and that's what my brother always told me. He's like, quit looking at your swing. Quit, just go play. Just hit the shot. Whatever shot pops into your mind that you think is going to give you the advantage to hit here, hit it, because you can do it. You have all the shots. You need to quit worrying about it. Just picture it and hit it. And when I got in that mindset was when I played the best golf. Just see it and hit it. And sometimes the reason I could hit so many shots out of the woods or wherever I was at was because there was only one shot to be hit, and it was a low hook or a high fade or whatever it was around that tree in front of me. And that's what the course, that's what the necessity was at that point, and I had to do it. So there was no options. It forced me to do it, so I did it, and that's when I played my best.
Yeah, that's a good answer. And so that kind of leads me into this. You guys win a team championship in 2012, and you still got a lot of experience coming back in 2013, not a lot of depth. So did you guys kind of put pressure on yourself there in 2013 to repeat as conference champions? Then obviously you also win the individual championship that year as well.
That one was in Ohio somewhere. The name is slipping me.
I think it was Longenberger, I think.
Longenberger, Ohio. Yeah. Beautiful course. That place was fun. So that's one of the only times that, I put some pressure on myself going into that because we had won. We had some success going into that, especially from years prior. I put some pressure on myself, which probably ultimately wound up hurting the team. I didn't play too well in my first round. I think I shot 79 in my first round, and I got on the phone that night with my dad and my coach, Doug Weaver from South Carolina, phenomenal golf coach in South Carolina at Hilton Head, and just was talking to him, more about, like, I think in my practice round I shot like 65 or 67, which that means nothing to anybody, but to me, it was some of the best golf I've ever played in my life. I holed out a pitching wedge from like 148 yards on one of the holes there on a par 4 for eagle, which I've hardly ever done. I've made a bunch of eagles on par 5s, but I don't ever hold shots from that far. But I holed it out and shot like 65 or 67 in the practice round and felt really good. So that probably put some more pressure on me to think, I can give us a really good advantage here if I go out and play well tomorrow. And I go out and shoot 79. So golf's one of those day-to-day things that being consistent is big. And I talked to my dad and my coach, and they were like, just let it go. And I was having a terrible time during the round with duck hooks, and I kept hitting everything straight left off the tee. And I told my coach, my swing coach, Doug Weaver, at the time, the only way I feel like I can get the ball in play off the tee is to feel like I hit a huge slice. Just basically your old man that you see out on the course on the weekend at your home course, just kind of cutting across it, coming over the top, and bunting it out there. And he said, well, do it then. Nobody says you can't do that. Is there any holes out there you can't, just feel like you're coming straight across the ball and hit a slice on? And I'm like, no, but I'm a draw player. It's hard for me to do is to sit there off the tee and see everything going left to right. And he said, well, do it. If that's the only way you can get it in play, then do it. So I went out the next day, and off the tee, I just basically took the driver and bunted it and hit low cuts that kept it in play. And I think I shot 67 to get myself back in a playoff. And that goes back to me being a field player. It just, that's the only way I felt like I could play at that time. And that's what I did. And unfortunately, the team came up short. But that was a special moment for me, to be able to call my dad after the round and say, hey, I don't think everybody's done yet, but I shot 67 and it's looking like I'm going to be in a playoff. I'm going to the range to try to stay loose, and just to kind of hear my dad after all the time and money and effort and stuff that he had put into it, kind of get a little emotional, just like good luck. I'm in Longenberger, Ohio, and he's back here in southern West Virginia. Can't watch, can't talk, can't see. There's nobody filming it or anything, and just let me know. And I'm sure he's on pins and needles. That was probably one of the most special moments of my career, being able to call him after that playoff hole, that first playoff hole. I made I think I made a par, up and down par on to win, and the guy three putted, and I called him and was like, "Hey, we won," you know. And to hear him kind of get emotional was one of the highlights of my career.
Yeah, going into that last round there in Ohio, you were tied for seventh, and I forgot to write down how many strokes you were back, but you were chasing Fairmont State's Jess Farrell, who you end up beating in the playoff that you alluded to. But I want to go back to something you said earlier, Evan. It's you versus the course, and you can't see, if you're 5 shots back, if you're 4 shots back, you just keep chipping away. So you talk about the physical state of the game. What was kind of your mental approach to that day? Because you literally have no idea what else is going on out there around you.
I just put it all out there. And like I said, I had put some pressure on myself going into that tournament, kind of feeling like you're one of the team leaders and you need to play well to put your team in contention. And after the first day, I think there was basically no chance the team was going to win. I can't remember exactly what position the team was in, but I think it would have been very hard for us to win. We would all had to play fairly well. So all the pressure was off, and it just kind of freed me back up to that practice round mindset of just go out and play golf. Just hit the shots that you see. Just do what you feel. Quit trying to hit the perfect shot at the perfect time. Whatever you think gets the job done, back to when you were 15, 16 years old playing at Twin Falls. Whatever happens. Just leave it all out there. And I did, and it worked out. Like I said, I talked to my dad and my coach the night before, and it just kind of freed me up mentally to just go out and leave it all out there. Whether leaving it all out there was a 75 or a 67, which is what I think I wound up shooting in the final round. It just freed me up mentally to talk to them and just to hear, the biggest voices in the background for me saying, just go play and have fun. It's back to junior golf basically. Just go have fun and let's see where the cards lay at the end of the day.
Yeah, the team does play extremely well in that final round. You guys come back. Actually, you guys hold off Charleston and Shepherd in the final round. The team shoots a 301 led by your a final round. You guys win the championship, actually going away by 24 strokes there.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm years mixed up now.
Yeah, you guys win the championship there in 2013 by about 20 strokes over Shepherd. Charleston was actually right on your guys' tail,
right.
but
yeah, I'm getting years mixed up. I'm sorry.
All good. I know it runs together at some point there for you talking about all these rounds, but Evan, I did want to touch on this. A rich tradition of golfers have come out of Wyoming East, yourself, and now Brett Laxton here at Concord. He's a senior. Have you talked to different guys that have gone on to play golf at the next level from Wyoming County?
Yeah, and another teammate of Brett's, Patrick Smith, is playing at Davis and Elkins, I believe. I actually came back and was around the golf program, an unofficial assistant coach, if you will, to help Brett and Patrick and these guys some and play with them. And it's been nice to be able to give them some experience and stuff that I wish I had known going into the collegiate level, just to kind of ease their minds more than anything. Their games are there. Obviously, if their games weren't there, then they wouldn't gotten the opportunities that they got. But just the mental side of things, everybody says the game of golf is in that 6-inch course between your ears. And I to be able to just basically tell them there's not as much pressure as you think. It's just like high school tournaments. It's just, just kind of like I was in that final round. Just go ahead and just leave it all out there and just play and have fun. I mean, if you play bad, everybody knows you tried your best. Golf's one of those games that, I used to tell everybody when they were down, like, look, I played bad. I shot 79 or 75 or whatever I shot, but I didn't try to. I tried to birdie every hole. I tried my hardest on every shot. So I would be upset, if I didn't play well, but just leave it out there. If you know you tried as hard as you could on every shot, then just go back out the next day and try to do better. And I just try to leave them with some more mental knowledge aspect nuggets of the game and at the collegiate level than the physical side.
Yeah, let me go back and just loop back around here real quick. Also at Concord, and I admitted his name was Michael Groh Jr., also a Wyoming East alumni playing here at Concord. Yeah. My mistake there for omitting him, but I definitely wanted to work him in there along with Brett. But your career averages, Evan, here at Concord, 76.4 as a sophomore, 74.5 as a junior, 73.8 as a senior. All the awards I mentioned, you're going to get inducted to the Hall of Fame here at Concord. You were selected or voted in this past class, but everything's been put on hold till next fall, so we'll see you go into the Hall of Fame here at Concord very soon. But I want to step off the golf course, talk about your family lineage in the medical field, and when did it become apparent that you wanted to get into the medical field and get your MD?
Well, actually, I'm a DO, not an MD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I went to the Osteopathic school at Lewisburg, which everybody in my family has attended except for my grandfather. He is a DO as well, but the school was not open when he went to medical school. He went to Kirksville, Missouri. My grandfather, my father, my uncle, my father's brother, one of my uncle's sons, my brother, and a couple more cousins have went through that school. It's been a dream of mine since I was probably my son's age, who is 11 now, or maybe even younger, to be a doctor. I kind of bounce back and forth: dentist, lawyer, doctor, pharmacist, professional golfer, all the above, a mixture of. How can I, professional hunter, fisher, everybody's wildest dreams. It came down to a choice. I took a year off between Concord, graduating at Concord, and going to medical school, and that was kind of my decompress life decisions year to have. My dad and mom really wanted to see me pursue the professional golf career. It was something that I very much thought about. It just came down to the decision of, that's not really the lifestyle that I wanted to live. I didn't want to be on the road all the time. If you're not Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, these top level guys, you're grinding it out for a paycheck every week. And to see the statistics of how many people make it, I don't want to dash anybody's dreams, but the stats aren't in your favor if you haven't looked. That doesn't mean for me to tell you not to try, but I wanted something a little more steady, to be able to stay around here. I chose Access Health residency, because it's home, it's here. I don't have to leave. I can, be home with my son. I can take him deer hunting like I did this weekend. I can take him golfing, that's one of those things. So I think if I hadn't went to medical school, my grandpa probably would have forced me to change my last name if I didn't try the pro golf. So it's something that he's pretty prideful in, and he should be, because him and his brother kind of started that lineage down that. So yeah, I'm very comfortable and happy with where I'm at in life right now.
Yeah, well, Evan, we certainly appreciate the time here. We record this at night, but people may be listening morning, afternoon, night, whatever it might be. So we appreciate your time with us here, and with your son hitting the teenage years here, pretty soon we might see him at Concord, and apparently he's got a lot of pressure, not only in the golf game, but also in the medical field too. So he's going to have to continue the tradition, Evan. But man, we thank you so much for your time.
No problem. And here at the house, at the Muscari household, it is student athlete, and student comes first. So he's got to hit the books before he can get the privilege to do any of the sports stuff. So.
Yeah, very important. Well, Evan, we certainly appreciate it, man, and we look forward to your future in the medical field and also for your family, man.
Thank you, Wes.
Yeah,
Appreciate
once again, Evan Muscari on the 12th episode of the Concord University Athletic Alumni at Work interview series.